Welcome to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Led by industry experts and diaspora leaders, future-ready skills for a global career, navigating opportunities after graduation, explores how graduates and young professionals can position themselves for success in an increasingly global and technology-driven workforce. The discussion covers building a compelling personal brand, identifying international career opportunities, and developing essential digital and AI capabilities. It also examines entrepreneurship, including how to validate business ideas, understand funding pathways, and navigate Cyprus's innovation ecosystem. The session featured representatives from Cypriots in the City, a UK-based non-profit network that connects Cypriot professionals and students working and studying across sectors, including financial services, law, accounting, and consulting. This session was recorded live on May 8th, 2026, during the Cyprus Diaspora Forum at the Amara Hotel in Limassol, Cyprus, hosted by Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. The discussion was sponsored by the University of Cyprus.
My name is Apostelina Michailidou. I am a positive psychologist and coaching psychologist, and I work mainly with young people, and I help support their mental well-being. As the founder of Youth Coaching Lab, I do develop well-being programs and experiential workshops designed for students in school and university students, and I do want to support their well-being, their resilience, and help equip them to better navigate their lives and themselves, kind of create awareness, self-awareness, and that beautiful space where they can get all the tools so they can thrive, basically. I also have a background in music, just to liven things up, and a law degree as well. But so I'm not the role model of career here, but that has actually shaped the way that I view identity, expression, and giving yourself a voice, which I think ties nicely into today's conversation. So welcome to our new people audience. I think you are university students. Great. This is for you. So, all right. You missed the introduction, but it doesn't matter. Just so you know, I'm a youth coach, positive psychologist. Actually, I will be delivering some workshops at a university. But we have a great conversation lined up for you today. The way we've structured it is our first conversation will be based on more structured careers, where usually entry paths are a bit clearer and progression is also, there is a certain progression route. Then we'll shift our conversation into more entrepreneurial and non-linear pathways, where possibilities are usually created rather than followed. So I'm just going to dive in there. Actually, before we do, this is something we do in my coaching practice. So perhaps we can all take a brief moment to set a simple intention for today. Think of it as taking a moment to kind of reflect on what you would like to take from today and what would make this conversation a bit more meaningful for you. So I'd like to invite all of us to take a short moment to just arrive. And as you sit here, you might ask yourself, what would make this conversation today more meaningful for me? Perhaps there's a question that you're considering, a decision you're planning on making, or just a sense of curiosity. So just take like 2-3 seconds to sink it in and carry it with you perhaps during our conversation. Okay? I'll start with Fanos Theophanous, who is the Managing Director and Co-Head for Strategic Clients and Family Officers at Barclays. He's also the co-founder and president of Cypriots in the City, based in London, with a very distinguished career that includes leadership roles at Deloitte, where he was partner and head of private client services. He's been recognized multiple times as a leading figure in wealth management across Europe. And beyond his professional work, he has played a key role in building one of the most influential Cypriot professional networks in the UK. So Fano, welcome. Looking back, was there an early decision that had a meaningful impact on where you are today? And microphones.
Okay, so obviously looking back, there were decisions, many decisions that were impactful, but I would say the most impactful decision was to have the courage at the time to apply and get many rejections so I could get a job in London. And it was very disheartening because I made 156 applications at the time.
Wow.
We needed a work permit back then, which is very similar to what Cypriots have today. After 2004, it was easier. So I got 4 interviews out of 156 applications. And I went to and they were in very different industries. And I went to a management consulting interview and I went second round. But at the first round, I realized that that's not for me. At that point, everybody was telling me, you're stupid, that you are not going to the second round. But I said, no, I'm not going to go because it will lead. I could feel it would be a failure. So I had 3 other choices in the end, but making hard decisions and getting rejections is a part of life, and you learn from it because you're, especially the university students, probably you're ambitious, you have very good students, you always pass with A stars. Getting a rejection is not nice. It's the first time you're getting a rejection, and getting many, it felt really hard. But anyway.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable, very practical as well. It shows the kind of perseverance and character, real life experience. Thank you, Phanomo. I'll move on to Ioanna Solomonidis. Ioanna Solomonidis is a senior analyst at CBRE in London, working in real estate, finance, and advisory, with experience across capital markets and portfolio management. Alongside her professional career, she is deeply involved in Cypriots in the City, where she leads initiatives supporting young professionals and students through networking and development opportunities. Ioanna, when you reflect back on your journey, what stands out as a first step or some early decision that helped shape where you are today?
Thank you for the introduction. I think the thing that shaped my early career was when I first found out about Cypriots in the City. So I was in my 3rd year of university, and we organized a Cypriots in the City event where my fellow Cypriot in the City friends, they came and they spoke about what they do and their vision and how they help students. And that was the moment that I was like, okay, I want to get into that. I want to do that in my future. I want that future career. And that's how I got involved. So yeah, that's the
great.
first thing.
That's fantastic. And now you're in it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Great. Thank you, Ioanna. So Panagiotis Ioannidis is a vice president and client executive at Citibank in London, which is an American investment bank with offices globally. He previously spent several years at JP Morgan, also an American global bank, after graduating from the London School of Economics. Having lived for over 10 years in London alongside his banking career, Panagiotis is the coordinator of the mentorship scheme run by Cypriots in the City, which supports university students in the UK. So, Panagiotis, how about you? What was there a moment early on that shaped your path?
Yeah, and I guess it was that I was lucky enough to be prompted to start early with my applications, just because timing is a key thing to enter a global company due to the competitiveness in the fields. And in my case, it was finance, but the same applies to industries such as law, consulting, etc. So I was lucky enough to get exposure to different companies by attending presentations, events such as this one. So the fact that you're here means that you're doing at least the first step correct. And then it was highlighted to me the importance of working on my CV early on, which allowed me to shoot applications. Fanos mentioned hundreds of applications. It is the case if you want to succeed. So my suggestion would be to ensure that you have a spotless, tidy CV, which will then allow you to confidently apply there. Just because companies receive thousands of applications and they cannot interview each one of you. They cannot even interview 100. So they have to filter out the majority of the students and the young professionals from the first stage.
Okay, thanks. And just very quickly, who or what prompted you to take that early, you said?
So it was actually my peers, believe it or not, which brings me to maybe another recommendation is to speak with your peers. You'll be amazed at how much you will learn. It can be a company you're not aware of. It can be a deadline about a company that you know that you were not aware of and you're going to miss, or it can even be an individual that they can introduce you to, and then that will lead you to new opportunities.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Petros. Petros Kolas is a chartered civil engineer and engineering consultant with experience across major infrastructure projects in the UK and Europe, from airport expansions to high-speed rail. Alongside his technical work, he has been actively involved in international, professional, and diaspora networks, supporting knowledge sharing, mentoring, and community building initiatives. He has a strong interest in career development, innovation, storytelling, and the role of community in shaping meaningful careers. So, Pedro, when you look back, what was an early decision that really made a difference in your journey?
Well, at that time, it was a decision to move to the UK, which is like departing for the unknown. Even though I studied there, it was known, but at the same time unknown, because I had to step out of my comfort zone and go through the same journey that most of us, I think, went here. And like Fanos mentioned, 150 applications, something like that. I mean,
156?
56, yeah. I mean, I think I did 498 for 9 months, at the point that I did the application. I was doing the applications. I was getting rejected. Then I got used to get rejected. And then I said, how to change this? I'm going to become a recruiter because I know the process. Forget engineering, yeah? So the thing is, like, just to go back to the question, is the fact that, you know, you go through this journey and then you try to get rejected, face your inner self and criticism, and then say, you know, how can I become better? Because I think Einstein said, like, if you do the same thing again and again, don't expect this to have
Different
results. And then it's so how to change the process. And then, I mean, after 15 like years and like that, you find the common things in life. So being rejected is part of your job as well, because you do something, your manager doesn't like it, so you have to go through the same process, ask the questions, what went wrong, and how can I improve myself? And it's become a life lesson and a way to survive. But I think another good answer here is, if I look back now, is the meaningful relationships I've developed over the years, and the different style of relationships in work, life. I mean, you know, the Cypriots in the City network, where if I have something, I can reach out to people and get an advice, where if I leave my overthinking and overanalyzing mind, it's going to destroy me. If I express this and project that, it will be easier to get a critical friend and someone to give me some advice to don't go in the wrong direction. So, yeah, I mean, I can talk for hours. So, well,
you'll have an opportunity in a bit, and then we'll continue the conversation outside of this room.
Yes.
But what comes out is how through the challenge and through your journey, you are developing mindsets and skills. If I'm coming from a positive psychologist view, domains such as a growth mindset. So you're developing that. Plus, meaningful relationships is one of the most beneficial kind of contributors to our well-being. So you've already gained a lot, even from a challenging journey.
I would like to make a link here with the Diaspora Conference and the Cypriot identity, let's say. So one of the things is, I mean, I was struggling. It was to say good morning, like you used to do in Cyprus, like you go somewhere, people, they don't say good morning easy if they don't know you in the UK. So I started thinking myself, how can I do that? How can I do that? So on the building I was working, there were many engineering companies. It was not only the company I was working. So I did the simplest, dubious thing in the world. I was looking for an Andreas, Nikos, the common names, yeah? And then I found people that they are my friends now, that they help me to change my CV and get the position to a better company. And we supported each other by doing this thing that somebody will say, no, don't do that. They think you stalk them. But we had people to say, good morning or having lunch together. And it's going back to the meaningful relationships, I said before.
Very resourceful. Great. We'll applaud that. And Yanno, we haven't forgotten about you. It's you. So Yannos Georgiadis is the managing partner at Georgiadis and Associates. It is a law firm with an international presence across Cyprus, the UK, and Greece. With a long-standing career in law, he has also been actively involved in international legal organizations, business ventures, and innovation initiatives, including work supporting emerging companies and technology ventures. So Yanno, when you reflect back on your journey, what stands out as an early decision that helped you shape your path?
First of all, I apologize for standing like this. It's not my intention to be like that. It's just I had an injury, sudden injury on Saturday, and I decided to come despite this. Listening to all the panelists, it seems like they're having a similar state of mind that it helped them to be successful. Going back myself, I remember that I just had the vision. I don't know how it came to me to visualize myself in the future, because I remember as a kid, and most of the children, I think, and people when they're growing and they're depending on their parents, they are always wondering, how will I be succeeding? How will I be independent so I can do all the things that my parents are doing, support other people? So that's a kind of a fear and uncertainty, which people need to overcome. And I just had an inspiration, and I visualized myself in the future because I wanted to study law and become a lawyer and go to England and all this. So I visualized myself being in England, studying, finalizing everything, having a family, having a law firm. And this picture was going bigger and bigger. And I was doing that when I was in the army. And it seems like the way I visualized myself, I even went beyond the expectations and the picture I had, in my opinion. But it's true that it's not enough to visualize. You have to take action also. And when you take action, then you get the confidence. Before the action, you don't maybe feel so confident, but once you take the action, you get confident. And that's why I managed to get a place in UK, and then to the law, then to the bar. And then, as Fanos was saying, I tried to apply for jobs in UK to do pupillage, and it was almost impossible. And when I first got one yes, after 250 applications,
All right. We'll keep the score later.
I was so excited. And although it was one of the lowest salaries in UK, I was so happy and feeling so grateful that I did that. And it did help me a lot later on in my career, because it gave me the confidence to come to Cyprus and then very quickly to open my own law firm in '92. And it shows you that you don't need to be ready to start.
Absolutely.
You have to go ahead and believe in yourself. And this is what I did. And actually, this is what helped me. The visualization and taking the action.
I love it. Yanno, I think there's a lot of positive psychologists up here, you all are, but it's very true. Visualization coupled with action, implementation, intentions, and then taking action. That is the key to being able to move forward and achieving things. So
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Guy. I think we could just do a whole discussion just on all of your introductory questions, but we'll move on into a little bit more into the present moments. And I will start with Ioanna. And so, Ioanna, given how quickly things are evolving, and especially for those looking to build international careers, what do you feel really matters most right now in terms of skills, mindset, or approach?
I think my mentality is, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's not the meso that we say in Cyprus, but I think that's what got me my current role. So basically, I went to an event of Cypriots in the city, of course, where I met another individual who was working at my current firm. And I went up to him and I spoke to him. We spoke about real estate. We exchanged ideas. And after that, I went on and applied at the current firm. Then I realized they basically sent me a rejection letter because they didn't have an opening for that position that I applied to. However, because I spoke to that person, he referred me, and then an opening came up. They didn't even open it up in the market, and I was the next person they had in mind just because I went up there and I introduced myself and I spoke to that person. And I think that's my advice to you. It's like network. Your network is your greatest asset. So you should go out there, especially today. You're in a great place where you can meet a lot of people. Go up to them, tell them what you do, introduce themselves. I think that's my number one.
That's great. Very practical.
Yeah.
But networking, great crowds, but also you took action as well. You know, It wasn't just there. You took advantage of it. So, okay, that's fantastic. Panayoti, I'll bring you into the conversation. Drawing both from your own experience building a career abroad and your work with the mentoring program that you mentioned during our call, what would you say really matters most for someone starting out today, especially if they're aiming to enter a competitive international field? And from a practical perspective, what would you encourage them to start focusing on earlier stages?
I mean, it's definitely networking, as Joanna mentioned and provided a great example. So I'm not going to touch on that. Maybe a secondary point would be the motivation to learn. As people in these companies, when they're looking for juniors, they actually want to see the hunger in learning. And to do that, I guess it would be for you to find a way of learning that works for you. And what I mean by that is, growing up, people were telling me, go read books. If you're interested in finance, go read books about finance, about investing, or long articles, etc. I guess in this day and age, we have so many means of learning that you can adjust in the way that works for you. So I know people who learn financial news on Twitter or TikTok or even a generative AI LLM. So, and I know there's parents in the panel as well. So my suggestion would be, don't force your children on a specific method of learning that worked for you, given that we now have much more access than what we had before.
Okay, that's really useful. Awesome, thank you. Jano, I'd be curious to explore the other side of that. When it comes to entering competitive fields such as yours, what do you think people often misunderstand or perhaps don't fully see yet?
When they entering the field?
Yes, when they're entering the actual career, let's say, of law. Is there something that perhaps they are not so much aware of, going from theory into practice, let's say? Is there something that perhaps would be useful for them to know?
Very, very interesting, because actually, especially for law, you must like it and you must consider it for any job, of course, but because the law is has a lot of diversity and it has a lot of kind of combination of different tasks, but you need to be also very sociable. I think people sometimes, when they think about law, they think it's just having the knowledge and studying a lot of books. And some people, they're not having the natural kind of characteristics of being sociable or being able to relate and have emotional intelligence and be creative. And this gives them a handicap. So if you're going to study law and you are not the kind of person that you have relationships and you can communicate with people and have social skills, and maybe you find it difficult unless you make an effort to develop these skills. Otherwise, you probably need to decide early to choose another direction maybe in law, but maybe as a lecturer or something else. If you're a practitioner lawyer, it takes a lot of, it's like a cocktail. You need to have different, not just the knowledge, you have to be creative, you have to have imagination, you have to relate with people, you must not get tired easily, and you must work a lot of hours, but without consider this as a burden. For example, myself, I feel I'm now in this profession for 34 years, and I feel like it's like a hobby. I never get tired, and I still like to learn new things. You keep learning.
Yeah.
So some people, when I see the young people coming to the office for training, and I realize that they think that by finishing as lawyers, that's the finish, that they can be considered
Ready.
as lawyers. They don't know that is the beginning, and they need to work hard and to make a lot of effort before they are in the position to be in a good stage where they can start making money and having satisfaction and fulfillment in their career.
I think that's really insightful. And if I'm not mistaken, they don't really, having studied law, they don't really give you anything else other than the curriculum. We don't get any of the cultivation of these kind of strengths that you called or other attributes. So it's interesting for people to know that there's a lot more about it that you can work on.
Yes, and to be honest, of course, in UK they have the bar course of the solicitors, which they teach you the skills. Let's call them practical exercises. So you learn to do interview, negotiation, to have a behavior. They give you even some lessons that they do to actors. You need to learn how to do opinions, to do advocacy. In some countries, they don't have this. In UK, they have that. And that's why, although we don't need to become barristers in UK, I always recommend to people to do that because they teach you a whole year these skills.
Yeah.
And in Cyprus, they don't do that. There is some people, they don't have this benefit and advantage of getting taught the skills because there are some people are talented, but some other people, they can acquire the skills.
Absolutely. That's what we say, growth mindset. It's not what I have, this is it. You can always cultivate and grow and learn.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Jan. Fanon, I'll build on that, actually. Drawing from your own experience working at a really high level internationally, as well as your involvement in the mentoring, what do you really think makes the difference between someone who simply enters a competitive field and someone who actually progresses and gets to build a meaningful career?
I think entering a competitive field, you have to do it because you're passionate for it, because you like it. A lot of people do it because it's good earnings, and they fail because they're not passionate about it. And don't get me wrong, the other thing that really helps is there's no such a thing as work-lifestyle balance. In my opinion, this is the worst thing you can do. There's only one thing when you're a junior. It's work. And there's no lifestyle. Lifestyle comes later.
No life or no lifestyle?
No lifestyle.
No life.
You're working. You're just working and you're focused at working, at networking, and taking risks in the business that you're doing. Do things that other people are not doing. For example, I was a junior in Deloitte and people were all going around the UK. Great. But was my competitive advantage being a Cypriot in a room full of British? No. What did I do? I went to Russia, which was a great decision. But at the same time, I took a risk. But I was working. I was working weekends, although most people were not working weekends. I was networking about my job. So I think you have to be passionate, but leave the lifestyle for later, especially when you're juniors. The worst advice someone can give you is go for that role that says work-lifestyle balance. Oh, nobody likes it. We'll see.
I love it. It's fantastic. The tenacity and the passion is coming out from all of you. I think, if anything, it's fantastic. Well, we said you can't out. I'm not sure. For juniors, we said that, perhaps lay it on the low. Pedro, I was circled round to you. So a slightly different question I've prepared for you. So alongside your work in engineering, you've been really involved in building communities and bringing people together across different environments, as I recall. How has that shaped your own journey? And what role do you think connection and community play in building a meaningful and successful career today?
So to begin with, like I grew up in Nicosia, a village, like millennial style, era of social media, living the life, get everybody connected on Facebook and like that. So community is becoming digitalized over the years, but I think if you gather and if you grow up in a community spirit, like used to be and romanticize about, and then you take this with you, doesn't need to have the same people again and again to recreate these moments, and this, you create them again when you're there. So you have the motivation to join networks, to go to networking events, if you're not junior, like Fano said, and then to develop your career in a different way, and enjoying those events that they will add value to yourself, to develop your soft skills, because the hard skills, you develop them within your work what you do on a daily basis. But the soft skills, they need to be developed at the same time as well, which is like communication, presentation, speaking to public. I mean, I had a fear of speaking in public a few years ago, and then I had to break it down and understand what was wrong, and then giving a try again and again. And I used those networks to organize events, push myself to go out there to do the introduction for a similar event like this. So I have to do the action we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. These mindsets are really coming out sharp. I think really we should have a discussion next time just on this, focused on what are these amazing skills that are coming out from your experiences. I'm going to throw out a question inspired by an email you sent me a few days ago before we do a final close and I bring up our next speakers. So we mentioned something about this, the rapid integration of AI into the workplace. How do you see this shaping the future of careers? What do you think will continue basically to matter most on a human level with the surge of AI? For any one of you who'd like to touch on it, if you feel comfortable to.
I think AI is increasing productivity, at least for me. I use it a lot at work. It saves a lot of admin time. Our juniors are using it. Any young person I know uses it. So a lot of admin tasks are done. What AI cannot replicate is the handshake, is the human feel, is the psychology. All these things are very important when you do business and you're talking to people. So that relationship cannot be replicated by AI. Some young people say, yeah, but my career will not be the same. Yeah, I get it. There are less junior people in certain industries, but in other industries, there is machine learning, so something that didn't exist before. So you need to be also adaptable. And after all, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the most adaptable, and you need to be adaptable.
Absolutely. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay, I'm one of these people that I like to embrace the evolution of technology. And I believe all of us, and especially the young generation, should embrace the existence of artificial intelligence and generally the evolution of technology. We don't have a choice. If you don't, you stay behind. And as a lot of people say, and I agree with that, it's not that AI will replace humans, it's that those that they know about AI, they will replace those who don't know about AI. And I strongly believe that. I think there's no fear that we'll be replaced. I'm sure about that. And because as Fano said, that there is the element of creativity, the decision making, the emotional intelligence, and a lot of other aspects that we need to use in order to perform tasks and also live our life. They cannot be part of the artificial intelligence. I don't know, because I don't like to exclude anything, what will happen in maybe 100 years. But at least at this stage, I don't think that in the near future we'll have such a situation. So from my experience also, I realized that even in law, big firms like Big Four and other US and UK firms, I happened to be in UK, in London, and in the Harvey Forum, which is an interface that they created a couple of years ago, and it's very successful. So it's an interface which is using ChatGPT, Gemini, all of these. And then I got the feeling, because there were so many lawyers there, that it's a must to use the AI in the legal profession. And also PwC, I know they're using it. They have more than 1,000 people, juniors, administrators, and lawyers. They don't really lose their jobs, but they all use AI. So it means it speeds up the process. It saves time from acquiring knowledge. And then you use your creativity to make better decisions and help your clients. And it distinguishes between those people that they are just good in getting knowledge, and those who are having the knowledge and also they're creative at the same time. And then it gives a better results to your clients, and also it makes it easier for you, speeds up things.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'd like to expand on the access of knowledge and information, which is a great advantage for the younger people. And if I can break it down first with the AI. So 30 years ago, you could not Google. If you wanted to learn about something, you had to go to the library to read or ask someone. 5 years ago, you could only Google and get the piece of information and read on it. Now you can ask a generative AI and get information, ask it follow-up questions specifically on things you could not understand. So the access to information is increasing. And then if you're a junior joining a firm, if you compare yourself to someone with 10 years or 20 years of experience, they have much more knowledge than you. However, with the AI, you have access to that information, so you can close the gap, at least for a bit. And once you close that gap in the knowledge factor, you can then bank on your interpersonal skills and communication skills to springboard yourself.
Yes, fantastic. Thanks, guys. Pedro, if you don't mind doing a briefer reply.
Yeah,
Sorry.
one. I just close it positive as well. We're so positive today. So I wanted to share as well and top up of what was already said. I don't see it as a threat. I see it as an opportunity to become more creative. And if you're creative before you type your first prompt, then you become more creative as well. And also don't forget that a few years ago, we didn't know the job of social media manager, and we had one. And now prompt engineering, and it's new jobs that are created. And just to close it on a positive and with a quote, Leonardo da Vinci said, learning never exhausts the mind.
Absolutely. I think everyone here shows love of learning as a top skill. That's for sure. I think probably most of the people here. So before we bring up our next panel of speakers, very, very briefly, if you imagine yourself at the point of graduation, is there something you'd like to tell yourself that with all the experience and knowledge you've had now, like a tip or two for our very few select students here in the audience?
What I would say is take the risk, take the chance, and never say, oh, there could have been another way. You are on the way.
Thank you.
It's very, very good. I agree. Yes, you must be persistent, and you must utilize all your relationships and take action without thinking whether I'm ready or not. And when things go wrong, you must be resilient. You must build up these mechanisms that you can stand up on your feet again and never give up.
Thank you.
I think I would say get out there, chase your dreams. Dreams do come true. And there's always a possibility to do whatever you have in your mind. If you can imagine it, you can do it.
Love it.
Echoing what my co-panelist said, and I would say reach out to people and don't hesitate to reach out to experienced people as well, because if they see you as someone young and motivated, it's very unlikely that they would say no, even if you ask them for 30 minutes of their time just for a coffee chat.
Update your LinkedIn profile.
That's fantastic. Thank you, guys.
And the picture on LinkedIn is not the one on Instagram. It's different. It should be different.
So have a different one. Very practical. I love it. Thank you, guys, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm gonna, while we're playing musical chairs, I'll invite my next round of speakers. I'll grab the opportunity to ask Fanos, if you don't mind staying, on the question. And then I'll invite to the stage Nicola, Eustini, Kyriakos, and Lambis. While we're getting all settled. We are now shifting our conversation, for those who missed it, into the more entrepreneurial, non-linear paths. And we're going to hear from people that their journeys are less defined, perhaps, or maybe shaped by uncertainty, but also initiative and bold decisions. So, Fanomu, you've had experience across more structured and more entrepreneurial environments, I believe. How do you reflect on that kind of decision when someone's navigating basically between the two?
What I would say is, for me, I was in a structured career. I was very successful in that structured career. I made it from the bottom to the top. And suddenly an opportunity came, which involved changing industries and changing countries at the same time. You know, when you're in a part in an accounting firm, you have a job for life. It's very safe. When you shift to banking, that's it. You're as good as your last year achievements. So the risk, taking that risk, was massive. It takes a lot of courage. But to make that banking is also much more entrepreneurial. You're chasing business all over the world. On an accounting side, you're constraining a country. And then if you need something from another country, you're reaching out to that office. So I would say that that particular point, it took a lot of effort to convince myself to take it. I took the risk. But again, everyone that I knew was against that decision. Everyone was like, you have a safe job, you're super good, it doesn't make sense, you're a superstar. Why? I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I may lose my job in 2 years and then you'll take me back probably, and if not, I'll find something to do. So I think when you're going to go into the more change career or go into the entrepreneurship, and I'm on board of some startups, you need to understand that you're taking the risk, and whatever you have built it might go to zero. But there is one thing that doesn't go to zero, that is you and your abilities. So you fail and you try again. That's the worst thing that can happen. But around you, everyone will be saying, no, stay for the safety. Safety doesn't pay off. It's risk that pays for you.
Can I quickly add, what was your fuel when everyone around you was saying, no, don't do it, it's a risk? What drove you? Besides the fact that you said, there's...
I felt that, okay, I've reached the point where I'm so good, I know everything, there's nothing exciting for me, I'm just winning more business, so I need something different. I need to go and do something else. Probably I was a victim at that point of my success. But it was a very good position to be in. Otherwise, you could have stayed and get very good earnings and be miserable, I would say.
So you expanded from your comfort zone. That's fantastic. Thank you. I think it's really, really insightful. Welcome to you all. Thanks for sharing the stage. I'll start with Kyriakos. Kyriakos Kyriakidis is an entrepreneur, investor, and digital innovation strategist working at the forefront of financial education and digital business. He has built and scaled ventures internationally. while mentoring and training over 1,000 individuals worldwide in areas such as financial literacy, online income, and has collaborated with organizations such as XM, Zinrai, and L Bank. His work focuses on helping people navigate and succeed in the digital economy. So, Kyriako, I'll start with you. When you look back at your journey, was there a moment where you chose to pursue, obviously, something uncertain, or basically create your own path? And what helped you make that first step?
So for me, I studied computer science in University of Cyprus. But actually, I guess it's what most graduates face. It wasn't what I was passionate about, because I had no idea what I was passionate about. I followed what my parents suggested, actually. And the reason I took the decision to try something different is, like all the previous speakers said, first of all, if you play it safe, there is no reward. And even in trading or investments, it's not safe reward, it's risk to reward. So, and I thought the smallest risk I could take it was at the moment of me being a graduate, as I had nothing to lose besides money and time. But at that point, you probably have both, compared to somebody who has family and responsibilities and other stuff. And the reason I took this is because I wasn't passionate about what I was studying. Not that having a job, going to the normal path is bad, as long as you love it. But if you're not loving it, why do it? And I thought, okay, I don't love it. I didn't know if I would love trading. I still don't love trading. I love the benefits that trading offers. So I thought, okay, even if I don't succeed or it doesn't work out to me, it's going to be the same. I'm going to be in the same position as by following computer science.
Well, thanks for the honesty. It's really refreshing to hear your journey. Nicola, I'll come to you. Nicola Solomon is the founder and CEO of Silverpen Careers, a global education and career support platform that connects students with professionals in their chosen fields. With a background as a UK qualified solicitor working in London and Dubai, she now focuses on helping students and young professionals access top universities and competitive industries through tailored programs. She's also a visiting lecturer at the University of Law. So, Nicola, when you look back at your own journey, what was that moment when you chose a less traditional path? What helped you decide to choose a different path, and what was that like for you?
I mean, I think it was interesting to hear Fanon because it kind of echoes his story. It was COVID 2020. I was in a career in law. I worked in London, Dubai. You know, there was a lot of potential, a lot of security, a great salary. And I just felt like I wasn't fulfilled. And with COVID, you kind of get that feeling that this could be the last day. So is this what I want to be doing for my last days on this earth? And I thought about, okay, what is it that I'm actually interested in? What am I passionate about? And when I was younger, I went to King's College and I supported a lot of Cypriots to get into law, helping them with getting into universities. I mentored them when I was working as a lawyer. So I kind of started off as, okay, I'm going to consult students and help them get into the legal industry and get into university. And then I listened to the market and there was a need for support in different industries, which I couldn't support with. So I thought, why not match them with people that I know already? And that's how I kind of started Silverpen, and it became a company where we run structured programs where we match students with the professional in the industry they want to enter into, and they support them with getting work experience, applying to internships. So it's very structured support that I wish I had had at the time when I was growing up, and that was something that I was passionate about. And so I think it is about finding what you're passionate about, and sometimes that's difficult. And so you need to kind of echo what the guys said earlier. You need to talk to people, find out what is out there, what opportunities there are, and network. So
yeah, that's great. What an amazing thing came out of COVID, not just for you, but also for all the people that you're helping. So that's amazing. Thank you. Lambis? I will present you now. Charalambos Toumazis was the founder of Cypriot Societies of London, and it's an initiative that brought together students across universities in London. Post-university, he joined Cypriots in the City, where he focused on building bridges between students and professionals, and later on launched the Beyond Limits podcast to showcase success stories in Cyprus and beyond. He has also recently moved back to Cyprus to launch his own company after 8 years of studying and working at a corporate job in London. So, Charalambe, when you look back, was there a moment where things shifted direction for you, or where you chose to move in a different direction? And what was the driver and the influencer of such a decision?
That's a great question. I think for me, I have always been very entrepreneurial. I think looking back at university and kind of how I have reacted across circumstances, I have always been very proactive. This is why I founded Cyprus Societies of London at the time. I thought there was a gap between universities. Then Fanos reached out at the time to kind of potentially do an event. And we didn't do it in the end because it was COVID, but I knew that there was opportunity there. So I grabbed the opportunity. I met with Fanos for a coffee after and pitched to him the idea of bringing me on as a young, I was the youngest actually when I joined by a few years. And then I kind of thought that there was a gap between connecting students and high executives like Fanos, for example, in London. And under his guidance, I've joined Cyprus in the City and, managed to grow, I guess, and bring on more youth to Cyprus in the City. And then, I wanted to try out the corporate career in London. And I think while it was great, and there are things that really taught me a lot, for me, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I have always been very entrepreneurial. And so there was an opportunity to come to Cyprus and start my own company. And I decided to leave London, leave the corporate job and what it offers, and kind of start my own business and the podcast as well with Cypriots in the City, the Beyond Limits podcast, where we bring on founders. And, I'm learning a lot. I fail every day almost. And this is part of the journey and I love it, to be honest.
Okay, that's great. Very inspiring. I love it. Very rich conversations. Last but not least, Iustini Pilidi works at the University of Cyprus as Dean's Office Coordinator at the Faculty of Engineering, with a very strong focus on career development and employability. She has extensive experience supporting students and graduates in navigating the transition into the professional world, including through European mobility and career initiatives. Her perspective brings an important bridge between education and the world of work. So, Iustini, from your own perspective and viewpoints, working closely with students navigating their next steps, do you see moments where they begin to move towards less traditional or more self-directed paths? What tends to influence those decisions for them?
I think that we see this happening more often in recent years, and the real example is here with us today. I think Kyriakos is a real example. So students no longer view their future through more traditional, let's say, paths, and they are becoming more open to non-linear or self-directed paths. I think that the most interesting thing is that this is not happening suddenly. I mean that there is a defining moment or a combination of experiences that encourages students to start think differently about themselves or their capabilities or their own future. And the first step, I think, and it's really important for this shift is exposure. Their exposure to people, to opportunities, to international environments. So I think that the universities have important role to this direction. by creating supporting ecosystems that give these opportunities to students, for example, internships that you mentioned before, mobility programs for studies or for gaining experience, either in Cyprus or abroad. And another thing that I feel that is important is confidence. And what students need are environments that will encourage the experimentation, to show initiative, and to overcome their fear of failure while they are studying at the university. So I think that the most important thing is to give to students the opportunity to experiment, to test their ideas, to connect with others, to network. And I think that the most important thing, if you decide to follow a non-traditional path, is not the career decision itself, but the mindset shift that has to happen before that. So we have a lot of work to do with our students to expand the way of thinking and, of course, to develop their skills through this direction.
Absolutely, I love it and couldn't agree more. And they're very lucky to have you in that position as well. Okay, so what is coming through clearly is, I guess, as we said, these kind of mindsets and these moments of choice and intention. So let's explore this a little bit more. Kyriako, I think I'll go with you. There's often a lot of perception around areas like day trading and digital finance. And from our conversation, you said that you have quite a bit of experience in this field. So in your opinion, what are the biggest misconceptions or myths that people have about this area? And also on the other side, because we want to flip it, what do you see as the real opportunities for someone who chooses such a path?
So I guess we are becoming more and more familiar over the years for these industries because we are in Cyprus and most brokers and financial institutions are coming here for specific reasons. The three biggest misconceptions when it comes on any financial market is, it's gambling. And it's something that I also thought back in 2017. And the difference between if you're actually gambling or having a system based on data that's actually repeatable is, number one, having a system, and number two, playing the probabilities on your own benefit. Because, for example, if you go to casino, actually the more you play, numbers are against you. When you're trading or investing, the more you follow your system, numbers will play out eventually on your benefit, as long as the system you have is profitable. And number two is having a data-driven system and not emotions-driven system. So that's the first misconception. And like a question one of my mentors told me early on is, if you're going to repeat this action when it comes on trading 1,000 times, is it going to eventually have a positive expected value? And if the answer is yes, then it's not gambling, but it's actually investing. It's based on data. And the second one is, I guess it's because of the misinformation of social media, that trading can make you rich. It's fast. We see all these Rolex, penthouses, villas, cars. And at some point, when I started, this is something that I thought I also wanted. And when you start getting them, you start understanding how empty you are. And that's not trading. I mean, we will discuss the benefits. That's not trading. That's not financial markets. That's not the reason to do that. And anyway, on social media, most of it is fake, either fake watches or rented cars, rented villas. So don't believe it anyway. And the third one is that it takes a lot of money. And the reality is, the beauty with trading compared, for example, to real estate, which real estate is also a financial market, You can start as small as you can. So I was a university student, I was working barman, I was making 50 euros per day, and it was 12 hours a day. So I started with 50 euros, and you build it up as long as you have the proper expectations. And again, you have proper expectations if you did it social media. Now on benefits is that you can decide when you want to do it. I mean, I was working, being a university student, and started learning about that. So it will take a longer time, of course, if it's not the only thing you do. But that's the beauty of it. You decide your schedule. The second one, you can do it from wherever you want. Now, okay, we have remote jobs, but still it's more flexible if it's your own, let's say, job. And the third one is, like the other panelists said, I guess with trading and investing, you learn and become more normal. It becomes more normalized to fail because you will lose money most probably every single day in the financial markets or every single week. So it becomes more normal because you know that if I want to become profitable, I need to first lose. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Kyriakos. Okay, Haralambir, through your work and also your podcast, because I love the conversation we had about that, you've had a chance to speak with a wide range of professionals, and you've been exposed to many of their stories and journeys, perspectives. So what are some of those key insights or patterns that have stayed with you and you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, it's a lot, to be honest, but I'll try and kind of keep it brief. And I think, I've seen a few high school students that have joined us as well. So,
oh, great.
I'll address it to them. So I've had a few guests already in the podcast. A few are entrepreneurs. Some are working in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, etc. And, in my podcast, I try to make it more personal. I try to get the story of the Cypriots or, the people that have some connection to Cyprus and understand what drove them to do what they have done. Now, there are two guests that kind of gave me a piece of advice because I always ask for their advice or kind of something that has struck to them. The first one was from Daniel Biton. I don't know if you guys know him. I see some high school students nodding. So they're probably nodding because Daniel is 18 years of age, and he dropped out of high school at 15 years old because he made millions working on a side hustle while he was going in high school in Nicosia. By 18, he has already created a software company, and now he's building his second company. And I asked him for a piece of advice, and he said, the biggest moat in business is working hard. There's always going to be someone that works harder than you. So if you have a target and if you have a goal, you have to work twice as hard as someone else around the globe. And the second piece of advice came from Michael Lambis, who is the CEO and founder of 3Dium, is a multi-million-dollar company in London. And he said a Japanese saying, which basically said, in order to move a mountain, you first have to move the stones. And what he meant by that is that there is a playbook, there is a process, there are steps that you need to take. And at the end of the day, you have to stay humble to achieve your dreams. And I think it's a combination of the two, actually, being a founder now myself. And I see it every day because I work really hard, but at the same time, I'm very humble. I understand that there is a process to get there. There is no get-rich-quick scheme. And through the failures, through the process, you become better every single day. And this is kind of my takeaways. I mean, there are many examples, but these are kind of the two that I would like to share with the audience.
Thanks so much. Really, really valuable. You're lucky to be hearing this. Probably we should all tune into your podcast.
You should.
Yes, absolutely.
Beyond Limits.
Okay, Beyond?
Beyond Limits.
Beyond Limits, okay. Okay, Eustini, through your work at the University of Cyprus, you mentioned that you've been very closely involved in supporting the students as they transition into the professional world. And it includes guidance, mentoring, different programs, connecting them with opportunities. So from your perspective, what really helps students feel more prepared and confident as they take the next step? And what do you think are opportunities that they could be made more aware of?
Having in mind that skills such as critical analytical thinking or communicating with others, leadership, resilience are becoming more essential than before for the rapidly evolving labor market. We as a university, we put a lot of attention on how we foster opportunities and experiences for the students in order to develop these skills. So through several ways, within the curricula or without, we are trying to develop this wide spectrum of skills. For example, one thing is the interdisciplinary learning opportunities. The opportunity our students that they have to combine their primarily field of studies with other disciplines while they are at their undergraduate level. For example, they have the option to choose minor degrees or micro credentials, etc. Secondly, we promote educational approaches that bridge the academic knowledge with practical applications. For example, within their programs of studies, they have laboratory applications. They can combine research and innovation activities. All these are within the curricula. Of course, there are other key areas that we focus on. For example, the early engagement with the labor market through internships, through industry collaborations, networking with employers. And I think this is really important for them in order to gain a meaningful insight about the market before they finish their studies. Finally, there are also international opportunities that are really transformative for them. I think it's really important for the students to take opportunity of mobility, either for studies or for job mobility, and gain experience in an international environment. So the university tries to provide these opportunities for our students in order to equip them with the knowledge, of course, but at the same time with the necessary skills in order to design and create their own career journeys.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And the numbers, are there a lot of students that volunteer for such initiatives?
It's of high interest, these programs.
Okay, that's great. So at least they are utilizing it, which is great. Cool. Nicola, so for someone who is considering a more self-directed or entrepreneurial path, what would you say is a realistic first step for someone who's been there? And what could that look like in actual practice in real life?
I mean, not to sound negative, but I think it's like 9 out of 10 startups fail. So my advice would be just do it. And I think Lambis mentioned earlier, you keep failing every day until you kind of learn. And Dimitri Maya was talking about this yesterday as well. Success is a series of failures. My advice would be, and this is advice that I had a mentor when I first started, a really successful friend of mine in the Netherlands who built a multi-million-pound company. And he said to me, give yourself 4 weeks, get a paying customer. Because I started and I was doing advice for free and I was trying to get, it was like a volunteering charity scheme.
Yes, I know, I can relate to that.
So he said to me, give yourself 4 weeks, get a paying customer. Then that proves it's your MVP. You've proved you've gone to market, you've commercialized. You haven't found that one random person that's willing to pay for the service. It means that there is a market out there. So that would be my advice. Literally just do it. Just start, try. Don't perfect your website. Don't perfect your Instagram. Our Instagram sucks. So if anyone is looking to improve our Instagram, I'm open to collaborations. Build your partnerships. Get in touch with your initial network. And then this kind of secondary network, and then do cold outreach on LinkedIn. So that would be my advice.
Great. That's really solid advice. I love it. Okay. So we're kind of towards the closing. I'll ask Fano something before I return to all of you with a brief question. Fano, when things become uncertain. You've mentioned that actually there were times where things were uncertain in your kind of journey. What mindset, I know we've touched it before, but it's nice to kind of close with this. What kind of mindset or set of strengths or ways of thinking helped you navigate, those kind of moments?
I think there is uncertainty at any point in our lives. When there is a lot of uncertainty around you, you have to really think, what are the possible outcomes? Give your probability and try to make certainty out of the uncertainty. For example, markets are falling. People are losing their jobs. Bonuses are bad. What can happen to me? I can be fired. If I'm fired, it means A, B, C. If I'm not fired, it means that. And if I'm one of the lucky ones, it means that. So I create certainty out of that equation. And I always say, okay, I'm in the middle ground, and navigate through, and just make sure at that point you're always confident in whatever decision you make. The minute people see you shaking, they understand you're doing the wrong thing. So make sure there is confidence in your decision and never change your mind. You said, we're doing it. Even if it's wrong, do it and correct it later. If you try to correct it right away, panic will be created. So just stick to your decisions and use instinct. Your instinct is always very good, the best guidance in my opinion. I always use my instinct. The first 5 seconds, make the decision then. If you overanalyze it, doesn't work.
Wow, and this is coming from people that are very intelligent. I love how all these things are coming out. Does someone have the time? Because I have the timer here, but I don't actually have the time to see how much we have left. We have 4 minutes? All right, okay. So we'll do a really, really quick 60 seconds little golden nugget. So what is one little thing you'd like people here today to take away with them? Yes, you can start. Yes, of course. If you want to, whoever's up for it.
Look, I come from a background where I studied engineering. I went to a really good university. I found a really good job at a global company that's listed in the New York Stock Exchange. I had everything in place, but I was always very entrepreneurial, and I always wanted to take my learnings and use those learnings to start my own company. And it's a different kind of story from someone else that maybe climbed the ranks and became very successful in a company. But kind of my key takeaways, especially for the younger audience here, is take your own time, navigate what you have in front of you, and there is never a good time to do something. It always comes naturally. The only thing that you have to do is just become better than yesterday, learn as you go through, and meet people, be outside, be proactive, and just network and learn more about others as well, other stories. And there is a very strong power in learning from others. And for example, again, in the story of Daniel, for example, who is 18 years of age, and I brought him on the podcast, and he had so much to give, even though he's very young. And I think there is something very strong about learning from people either with a lot more experience than you, or even people that have new ideas, fresh ideas. And this is something that I learned as well. For example, I'll take Fanos, for example. Fanos has been a mentor of mine, but at the same time, Fanos, many times he comes to me and asks me for my opinion. So keep learning, keep giving, and everything will fall into place.
Thank you so much.
I would say, just to echo that, get a mentor. Not only obviously is it the crux of our business, but getting a mentor, someone who's been there, who has experienced what you're about to experience, who's been on that journey. I think it's really invaluable to have that.
Absolutely. Very important. Thank you, Nicola.
I would like to share an idea that I love by Simon Sinek, that truly inspiring leaders or organizations are those that starts with a why. And because nowadays students and a lot of people, they are under pressure to have everything figured out from the very early beginning, the right degree at 18 years old, the right career path, the right next step. I think what is important is to define what is the sense of our purpose. So it's okay not to have all the answers from the beginning. It's okay to test and to failure. And I think it's also okay to, what is actually important is to find a strong enough why on what you are doing. So it's not only investing on the career decisions, but also investing on your own purpose.
Yeah, I love that. And a why is, they say even in the science of well-being, is a huge driver towards where you want to go. Especially if it aligns with your values, your strengths, and sense of direction in life. Kyriako, I see you're ready to say something. Share.
Yeah, I mean, in your introduction, it's actually something that actually hit me, that you said you have your own company, you studied also law, and you also did music. And I guess this is something that, I mean, okay, you figured it out already as a student, okay, but most don't. It's okay to try things, stop it, change it, pivot, because like you also said, that we are expected when we graduate to figure out what we want to do for the next 60 years. And that's not normal. Actually, that's how society expects us. So decide one path you want to go, give it some time, depends on the path. If it's a degree, I mean, finish the degree. If it's a business, give it at least 3 years. And if it doesn't work out, try another thing and another thing and another thing until you find your passion.
Thank you, Kyriako. That was wonderful. And Fanu, close with you.
What I would say is that if I was going to give you some advice is, I appreciate you're under pressure, especially the students. You're thinking what degree I should do. Do what you're passionate about. It doesn't matter, especially abroad. You can study art and be a banker. It's fine. You can study finance and do something else. So you don't have to make decisions now. We've all made wrong decisions. And actually, I'm a living example of it. I've made many wrong decisions. I didn't like my degree. I even took a gap year, 25 years ago for a Cypriot, more than that, 30. Everybody thought I had psychological problems.
You're normal.
Yeah, which is fine. And actually, I've met the first Cypriot who took a gap year after his university studies because he didn't know what to do. In 2023, quarter of a century later, which shows me one thing: don't follow everyone. Don't follow what people around you are doing. In my opinion, Cyprus is a very bad example of how to build a career, because everybody likes certainty. You don't take risks. Entrepreneurship is not fostered in you. And the other thing is, you need to be a good student to be successful. Actually, being a good student doesn't mean you're successful. It means you're a good academic. You need to network relentlessly. You're all students. Network, network, network. Make decisions based on data and analysis. Look at the end result. Find a mentor. But in Cyprus, most people, they say, oh, yeah, my mentor, who will be my mentor? It's just the guy above them or one grade over. Your mentor is your role model. Find someone who's your role model, someone that you want to replicate, and that person should be your mentor, because it's the only person that can actually tell you how it is done. Everyone else you're speaking to, they're trying to do it. So be also analytical and make bold decisions that people will think you're crazy. That means you will do well in life. That's my advice to you.
Thank you, Pano. Yeah. Thank you. So networking and mentoring, you guys have the opportunity to grab these amazing speakers later on and connect with them. I want to thank the audience for being here. I wish the best of luck to our students in the audience, and a huge thank you to our speakers. It's been really rich and thought-provoking. I wish we had like triple the time to cover everything. So I don't know if any of you were here for the intention setting. Very briefly, whoever was here, we set an intent for whoever was not here. Actually, we set a brief intention to kind of reflect on what we wanted to gain from today, just to make it more meaningful. But regardless, perhaps you can pose a few questions to yourselves at any stage throughout the day or even tomorrow, and ask yourselves if there's something that shifted for you slightly, a new perspective perhaps, a new pathway you'd like to explore, because often, these kind of things kind of expand even after a rich conversation like this. So thanks to everyone, and welcome on stage the next set of speakers. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for more inspiring conversations that are shaping Cyprus's global future. You can also explore more episodes on our website and selected video interviews on our YouTube channels.